Welcome, David, and congratulations on being here in the finals on center stage once again.
Thank you.
Are you ready to recite a passage?
Yes.
All right, here we go. David, please recite Psalm 139, 1 through 18.
Psalm 139, 1 through 18. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night. Even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God! How vast is the sum of them! If I would count them, they are more than the sand. I awake and I am still with you. Psalm 139, 1 through 18.
David, that was an awesome recitation. How has the truth of that passage impacted you personally?
I think it's really neat just how it says, even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all together. And just how that's so true right here. He knows whether I'm going to make it perfectly or not make it. Just before I speak anything, he knows what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And you know, there's such comfort when you know the Lord, to know that he knows all things, that he's in all places at all times. And I think sometimes because we live in the midst of such a loud and grand world, that we can sometimes feel like, you know, we're sort of minimized as believers. And I think it really has to do with how we understand who God is. I remember years ago, I was in a certain place and, you know, we were out giving out gospel tracts and the world was out in all its grandeur, you know, and I remember feeling puny. I'm walking between these huge buildings. There's all these musicians and everything. I'm walking up to people, giving them a tract. Did you get one of these? You know, I was trembling. And I remember I felt so puny. And then suddenly I got a thought. I remembered those old, you know, kind of cheesy black and white King Kong Godzilla movies we used to see back in the 60s or whatever. And I remember as a kid, I'd look and I'd say, where in the world did they find such a huge gorilla, you know, to play this part? Because I'm thinking he's really that big, you know? But then you grow up and you realize it's a guy in a monkey suit in a sandbox with some toy cars and, you know, some little tiny fixtures, you know? And you understand that because the camera is zoomed in, he seems so big and everything seems so small. But when that camera pans out, as you learn about movie magic, you recognize it's just a normal guy, right? And it's all perspective. When we look at things from the perspective of the God of the universe, who's bigger than we can even imagine, we recognize that even this planet we're on is smaller than the head of a pin to him. And he has it in his hand and he's our God. He knows everything. He's in all places at all times and we could trust him with all our heart.
David, let me say this real quick. You know, David starts out this passage and he says that God already knows him. He knows everything about him. And we have to ask ourselves the question, if God already knows everything, he knows what we're thinking, he knows it all, then why would we talk to him? You need to remember this. You're going to get married one day. You need to remember this. Communication is the currency of relationships.
Right.
You can't have intimacy apart from communication. As you pour your heart out, God pours his heart out. As one day you're going to be married, you pour your heart out, your spouse pours your heart out. There's no such thing as, she knows I love her, so you don't have to say it. No, man, you pour it out. And that right there is the foundation for intimacy. That's what that passage talks about.
Amen.
Well, David, you mentioned how the Lord knew your score before it would ever come out. And he knew that you would get 1,000 points.
Boom.
Great job.
Boom.
Yeah.
Look at that smile.
Awesome. Yeah.